Like Kanye saying, I ain't looking for a gold digger.
All right, welcome back to another episode. Today's a special episode talking about money for married couples. And whether you're a newly married couple, a couple that's about to be married, or even a couple who's been married for a while and haven't had a serious conversation about money in a long time, this video is for you. And today's special guest is my wife, Christine.
He wishes.
You're my wife?
We're just friends.
Okay. Christine, how long have we been married?
In 10 days, it'll be 1 year.
Happy anniversary. So what we have prepared for you today is a couple of big general questions about finances for married couples to start. And then for the fun part of the video, we're going to have a couple of questions that are a little bit more personal. And
I feel like before you marry someone, you should talk about these topics, and it's very uncomfortable and might be weird, but it's topics that you should find yourself aligned on, and it's very important to communicate these things.
So my first question for you is, what should every couple know about money before getting married? What I think is that ultimately the information that both of you have about money, your bank accounts, your income, your debt, your philosophy about money need to be completely laid out on the table for the other person to see. There should be nothing to hide from a financial perspective. And if there is something that you're hiding, definitely ask yourself like why you're hiding it. Yeah, because you're effectively becoming a team, a single unit. So you have to know the other person's strengths and weaknesses. What else do couples need to know? Or what else do they need to think about?
Your spending habits, your lifestyle choices. Like that could cause a lot of ripple in a relationship if one person spends a lot and one person doesn't like to spend.
Yeah, and remember that you're not dating anymore. Anything you are uncomfortable with your partner in terms of money, talk about it before you get married.
And especially if you think it's uncomfortable, and you don't want to talk about it, then that means you should talk about it. Yeah, before the marriage, you know?
So the second question I have is, should couples combine their finances when they're married?
I think it depends on every relationship. Some people do like to combine their finances.
Credit cards, bank
credit
accounts,
cards,
everything.
Yeah, and just do a joint account. But for us, we just never felt the need to, because it's just easier. Like, we are transparent with our money, and he knows all my password and all my pins, you know? Like, we just felt it was easier just to keep it the way it is. Like, he has his own bank account, I have my own bank account. Like, whatever we need to pay for something, we just use our own money to pay for it. And then, so it depends on your relationship.
Yeah, it depends on how sophisticated your situation is and where you guys are starting from. Like Christine said, I have like dozens and dozens of different accounts, and a lot of those just don't make sense to combine. And we have a couple of bank accounts, and we could have easily created a new joint account to funnel our money through. But to be honest, we're a little bit lazy about it, and we didn't think it was necessary. You as a couple have to at least be logically combined in finances, but not necessarily tactically combined on the back end. Don't be hiding anything from your partner.
Yeah, no secret. Cayman Islands bank account.
Oh, that's where your bank account is too?
Oh, yeah. You do too?
Oh, that's mine? Okay. Okay. So as a follow-up to that question, the third question is, how should a couple consider splitting the cost of running the household?
Like with everything, you and your husband and wife have to talk about it and see what's fair for the both of you. You don't want resentment to arise because one person feel more slighted than the other. And one way that couples can split household spending is based on relative to their income. Like, let's say one person makes $100,000 a year and one person only makes $20,000 a year. Then you pull in the monthly spending is, you divide it by what?
Like ratio-wise?
The ratio-wise of what they can contribute to the household. But then other couples might be just split half and half. It doesn't matter what you make. Like, you just split half and half down the middle, even if one person makes 100 and the other person makes 20.
For you guys out there, the general advice is to make sure you're in agreement on who's contributing to the household income, how much of that money goes towards your shared costs, and make sure that it's fair for both of you. And ultimately, like, a theme that you'll hear a lot in this video is, as a couple, you need to be completely aligned. And there's no assumptions to be made about money, because that's where arguments, that's where resentment will happen if you're not both on the same page in terms of how much money you make, how the money is spent in the house, who's spending money on what. So definitely make sure if any of those uncomfortable situations come up, talk through it as soon as you can. So we're gonna jump to the second half of this video to cover a couple of more personal questions that Christina and I have asked each other over the last year. And hopefully some of these questions you might be asking yourself as well, or you guys might be having different questions too. But the first question that I have is, why did we decide to only keep one car?
It just made sense for us. I had a really old 2008 Toyota Sienna, and it was mainly used to drive my employees to work because my commute back then was 3-hour round trip every day. So it makes sense to just carpool. So that's why I kept my car. And before we got married, we talked about moving my business closer to where we live. So I sold the business, and then the pandemic happened. He started working from home, and we didn't need my car anymore. It was just sitting there for months. And I'm like, oh, why am I paying for an insurance every month and maintenance on it?
Yeah, so effectively having a second car was costing us money with no return in value at all.
Yeah.
Right? I think the moment we got rid of one car and went down to just a single car, we felt a lot more free, which is weird. Like minimizing down to one car, only one car to store in the garage.
And to be honest, we do everything together anyways.
Yeah.
Like if we need to go anywhere, we mostly go together, you know?
And if we ever need to go in separate directions, it just takes a little bit more planning to see who gets the car in the morning or in the afternoon. But definitely having one car during this time just makes a lot of sense. So the second personal question I have that we talk about in this household is, how do you feel about the standard of living that we have here? And what's your general viewpoint on living below your means?
I think Min and I probably 90 to 95% agree on our spending and our saving goals and our finances. So I'm pretty satisfied and happy with that. Yeah, I think we live pretty well within our means.
We live within. I would say below now. And it's a mantra that I advertise a lot on my channel, which is live well below your means so you can save and aggressively invest the rest for your future.
Like our wants pretty much align. Like we love food and we love to travel. So that's something that we would splurge on. But then you want me to spend, $100 on that shirt? I don't know.
Yeah, or on those shoes or on those nice clothes.
Yeah, that's not our values.
That's not our style or our values.
Yeah. So, so we're content with our lifestyle right now.
So, along those lines of thinking, let's be a bit transparent with our viewers, and maybe they can comment down below as well. But what do you think our means are every month? And what I mean by that is, what is our monthly budget and what do we spend money on?
I think we spend about $3,000 on household costs.
It's pretty close. I think if you bake in like the HOA fee, which we hate, and then things like utilities, is probably like close to $3,500. So not bad, pretty close.
So $3,500
on fixed cost. And that is a bit high, but we live in a very high cost of area living.
Yeah.
So above,
and it's relative to rent. Sometimes it can be even cheaper than rent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like above housing cost, where else does our money go every month? What else do we spend money on?
Food and groceries.
That's probably our second biggest expense, honestly.
Yeah, I would say about $600
a month
on groceries.
Do you think that's a lot or little?
I think that's a lot for 2 people.
I'm curious, for you guys watching out there, comment down below if you're a couple. How much do you guys spend on groceries a month for food? I'm curious.
And that's just grocery. We're not baking in, eating out, and splurging on boba. Yeah. Like our vice is boba.
Our vice is boba. My vice is good takeout every so often. And we even splurged for a great New Year's Eve dinner last night.
Oh, I would do it. That was good.
And I guess the final part of our monthly budget, like, can you talk to that last part of our budget? That's probably different.
So we grew up as Asian American immigrants, first generation, and our parents sacrificed a lot for us. And then I read on my relationship and financial forums where a lot of couples don't align on helping their parents or helping their family members. Min and I give our parents money occasionally, and we are happy to do it, and we put that into our budget every month. And some couples aren't raised the same way that we are. So if you are planning to help your parents or family, you should talk to your significant other before marriage. You don't want to surprise them. But then some people feel like that's just a part of their living expenses every month. And that's okay for them, and they're really happy to do it. But then that's a very, very big portion of your finances that you should talk to your significant other about. Yep. It's uncomfortable. It's one of those uncomfortable conversations that you just have to talk about.
So the next question, as a follow-up to our monthly budget, is what do we splurge on as a couple, as well as what do we splurge on individually?
Me, personally, I am a big saver, so I don't really spend money on anything. Not to make it sound like a bad word, but I'm not materialistic. Which is fine.
That's what you value.
Yeah, if you value buying stuff, then that's fine. But I don't value buying stuff. I value experiences and memories. So Min gets frustrated at me because I don't buy anything. He literally, like, you would think that your husband would be happy that their wife doesn't spend money. But Min's like, why don't you spend money?
Well, I think it's like, it's a mindset shift. I think you should be able to reward yourself with buying nice things that you want, even if it's not necessarily something you need. I
recently discovered Home Goods, and I literally have like 30 receipts from Home Goods within the past month. That's just part of it. I got to home organizations and decorating. So that's my recent splurge.
As a couple, I think we mentioned earlier, but we splurge a lot on, nice food because we're both foodies. But for me, I still splurge every so often on like technology and gaming.
Games.
So my latest big purchase was actually my PlayStation 5. Big purchases are very relative, right? So for us, $500 might sound like a lot to some people, but for us, since we don't spend a lot on disposable things or fun things, then we're able to justify these purchases pretty easily and not have any guilt about buying these things.
Yeah, like we don't have to set a budget, or I have to or take money away from
something
one
else,
aspect of our life just to save for that. Like we don't have to do that because on our everyday basis, we don't really spend on anything big. Like I am a big saver, and Min values time over money. So I think like I said before, we aligned financially 90 to 95% of the time. But sometimes we bicker about what we value when it comes to money. Yeah,
the small things. Yeah, we're completely aligned on the macro goals and macro philosophies we have about money and our future with money. But like any couple will have like every so often a small argument or bicker about how we approach money on the day-to-day. So the final question as we end this video is if you were talking directly to a newly married couple or a couple that's about to be married, what is the one piece of advice that you would give them?
Watch this video. You should ask your spouse or significant other these questions. Talk about money. Be open about it. Don't hide anything from your spouse. And hopefully you guys align. And for the small little things that you don't align, try to compromise. It sucks, but it's true. Money is important in a relationship. It can break a relationship.
Yeah, money is not evil. Money is just a tool. Money is just a resource. So it's in both of your best interests to understand what resources you have collectively together and have the collective knowledge of how to use those resources the right way. Before you get married, lay everything out on the table, have those uncomfortable conversations, and make sure you're aligned for the most part, like in the right direction, before you get married. And don't hold on to uncertainties, the unknowns for later in your marriage. Well, that does it for this video.
Thank you for having me on.
And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below.
He works so hard on this channel. It's his passion. He loves it. He does it for fun. But please subscribe and support my husband.
And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Happy New Year.